Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm early on time watch reviews. My name is Chris. I unbox and review budget watches. And finally, it's been months, but I am now ready to talk about this beautiful Timex Tide Temp Compass tool watch. It has what Timex calls intelligent quartz watch system in there. And it is a fantastic tool watch for those of you who enjoy the outdoors, going on hikes. You can utilize the compass function on it. For those of you that enjoy going out on the boat, you can do the same, measure the temperature of the water using this watch, and fairly accurate within a couple of degrees. I'll show you about that. And I'm going to be giving you a comprehensive and very detailed how-to guide on how to set and utilize each of the functions on this watch. So just ahead of the intro, my up close and personal of the watch, the montage that I do for all of my reviews, and then we'll dive right into it. Enjoy. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the up close and personal of this watch. And what I'm going to do now before I discuss my likes and my gripes is show you how to properly use and set your Timex Tide Temp Compass watch. There was a comment in my unboxing video a few months back that said you did everything but show us how to use the watch. And I planned on doing a follow-up video a whole heck of a lot sooner than this, but at any rate, first thing you want to do when you are using this watch is you want to calibrate the fourth hand and set your time. And so you simply pull out the crown to the second position. You'll see the seconds hand hack. Now what's the most important thing here is you want to make sure that the fourth hand is facing the 12 o'clock, okay? If this is not set correctly when you pull the crown out, you can see by pushing the top button here, it will move it that way. Pushing the bottom button moves it clockwise. This has to be at the very top when you go to set your time. If it is not, it will affect everything regarding the watch. The direction for the compass, the high tide and low tide, it affects everything. So you want to make sure that that is calibrated. Then you can set your time. Push the button back in, okay? So this watch has three functions. It's got a temperature, which is this button here. And I think it's already on temperature now. And I can say that it is very, very accurate. Now, the only thing that you have to remember is there's sensors in behind this case back. And so if you're wearing it on your wrist, then obviously the temperature is going to be reading is your body temperature. If you want to measure the temperature of water, and I did for my pool this past weekend, I just threw this watch because it's 100 meters water resistant. I threw it in the pool. I left it on the temperature setting as I threw it in the pool. Pulled it out 5 minutes later. My pool was reading 72 degrees, and it is accurate within a degree or two, I must say. And if you push this button here, this is your tide button. And so the fourth hand will go back and then it will go to where you set it for your tide, and I'll show you how to do that. And then this is your compass button, and you push that and it activates your compass. And I will show you how to properly set that. Using the compass, you want to make sure that you're not touching the bottom of the case back to get a most accurate reading. That's what I have found. And the compass is fairly accurate as well. So let's show you how to use it. Now, once the compass is on for a few seconds, as you saw, it will reset to either the temperature setting or the tide setting, whatever you have the hand on. So let's show you how to set this watch, how to set the tide, how to set the compass so that it is working properly, and you don't have to set the temperature. Temperatures doesn't get set with the button. So you need to pull the crown out to the first position and you will hear a beep. You will know you're in the first position if you hear the beep and the seconds hand is still running. So in this position, you can now set your tide measurement. So I have it set to 1 hour to high tide. So you just Google your area. You know, if you live near the Pacific Ocean, in the area you live in, you say what time is high tide and low tide. Whatever is closest to you, as far as if it's 1 hour to high tide, you can set it to 1 hour to high tide like I have now. And you can see that there is a count down from high tide from 6 hours to low tide. And then it counts up down from 6 hours again to high tide. So it's a 12-hour cycle. So let's say you've got an hour until it's low tide. Well, you simply move the fourth hand until you see the number 1 line up with that white arrow there. Okay, so now we are setting it to an hour before we reach low tide. So if in your area, low tide would be at about 11 o'clock or 10 after 11, you hit that to there, and there you're done. You just simply push the crown back in. If you want to set the compass, again, you start by pulling the crown out to position 1. You will hear a beep. Make sure the seconds hand is running, and then you want to hit the compass function button. So you hit that button there, and the compass will, or the fourth hand will circle all the way around until it sits at the top there. Now, this is very important. Now, as the hand is sitting there, you rotate the watch slowly counterclockwise, and this is calibrating the compass for the watch. And you want to take about, 30 seconds or so to do this. 30 to 45 seconds, 60 seconds I found works just fine. So you want to just turn this, and you just keep turning it until you get a full revolution around. And again, this is just calibrating the device inside the watch for the compass. And once you get it turned all the way around, if you want to set your declination angle, and you can Google all of this information, my declination angle for where I live is -10 degrees. So to set the declination angle, you hit the top button. You'll see it wiggle there. And I've already got mine set for -10 degrees. So if I go up 10 degrees by pushing this 10 times, that's at a negative declination right there, or right there. If you're on a positive declination, you just push this button the amount of times that your declination calls for. Mine -10. This will be 360 degrees like a compass. So I'm going to go to 0, and I'm going to set my declination to -10 by pushing this button 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now my compass is calibrated to where I live with a declination of -10 degrees, and I simply push in that button, and it will go to the last place it was set, which is we set it for 1 hour to low tide. So now if I want to use the compass and know what direction I am heading in, I just simply push the compass button, and you will see that the 12 o'clock is facing west. So if you want to know what direction you're going in, you just move the north to the fourth hand arrow, and you're facing west right now, and it is accurate. If you want the temperature, or you'll see it actually will go to low tide, automatically kind of switches. And if you want to know the temperature, you just push the temperature button. You'll see the fourth hand go to 0, and then it will come all the way around and tell you the temperature. And again, the temperature for room temperature is accurate within a degree so long as you leave it off of your wrist for, I'd say, at least 5 to 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes for room temperature, 5 minutes if you're in the water. And if you're wearing it on wrist in the water, it's not going to be 100% accurate because it'll also be reading a bit of your body temperature from the back of the case back. So that's how to set the watch, guys. All right, so let's just take a closer look at this dial to see. It's a very busy dial. You have a nice date window at the 6 o'clock. Again, we'll just go from outside to inside. You have a nice bi-directional friction bezel that you saw that we use for the compass. You have a minute track printed around, indices as well at every 5-minute marker. They are lume filled. Hour and minute hand have some lume on them. This does have Indiglow, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. The seconds hand, as you can see, isn't really hitting all the markers, but for everything that this watch does and for how busy this dial is, I don't think that's something that you're going to notice too much. The next function inside is your temperature function. You can read your temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius, as you can see, and then your low tide and your high tide there as well. And so if we want to know where we are in our tide, once again, you just push that tide button and it will be just ahead of that 1 hour mark now, since we have set it about 10 or so minutes ago, and it's working its way to low tide. So really just a fantastic tool watch, but there are some gripes and there are some likes. Okay, let's just deal with the likes. What an awesome tool watch. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. It's the best tool watch that I have, and it's certainly one of the coolest tool watches that I have seen to date. If you are a person who enjoys hiking in the outdoors or boating, this is just a perfect tool watch for that, with the compass on it and the tide, and it's just perfect for that. And so what a great find. I do love the dial. I do love all the functionality of the watch. I like the date. I just love this watch. Constructed of 316L stainless steel. So, it's just a fantastic tool watch to have. But there are some gripes with this watch. The biggest gripe that I have is the legibility on the watch. It is a little tricky to read this watch, mainly because of the fourth hand. It's kind of what draws your attention whenever you look at the dial. So I tend to keep the dial, or the fourth hand, on the temperature gauge because it's fairly stable and will always be within reason in the same place on the dial. And you can see that the hour and the minute hand, they kind of have the same shape. They're a bit of a different length. But it is a little bit tricky at times to get the time at a glance because of how busy the dial is and because of this distracting fourth hand on the watch. The lume is okay on the watch. The Indiglow function, again, very difficult. Let me show you the Indiglow shot now. And you can see it is kind of tricky to read because it just doesn't glow the way that it should. You kind of got to start from the inner circle and find the hour hand and then go to the outer ring and find that minute hand. So it's a little bit tricky. And the lume is, well, I'll just show you the lume shot now. There is some lume on it. It isn't the best lume, but I do wish that it had great lume or the Indiglow was just a little bit better than that. It makes legibility difficult. And the last gripe that I would say about this watch is the band. Now, I have one that I bought on Amazon, and I got a new band on it. And the reason is because this canvas / leather band that I got, you can see I had an issue. The tang and buckle ripped off of it. And I had to modify an FKM rubber band that I had sitting around at the house, and you can see there I didn't really exactly do a great job of getting that in. And this is held in by 2 screw pins, kind of a knob and tube type of deal. And you got to get 2 screwdrivers to undo it. I had to get my son to help me because I couldn't do it by myself. And you can see that the flathead on this side, it broke off. So the threads are still in there. It's still holding in tight. But this pin could could definitely fall out, but it does squeeze in there fairly tight. But the band isn't the greatest. I would recommend the stainless steel version on the Timex website because it also has a sapphire crystal. Unfortunately, they didn't include a sapphire crystal on this one, which I believe is an older version. I'll leave a link to the Amazon watch, the Amazon link where I got this watch. You'll see the price for it there, as well as the Timex website where you can get these. The newer ones do have sapphire crystal. I highly recommend getting those ones. You pay, I think, about $50 or $60 more, but obviously well worth it. So, thank you guys for tuning in to another video. Give me a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and God bless you. We will see you in the next video.